Hello and welcome to this edition of Business Africa. In this week's episode, good news for Tunisia, whose reserves have increased this year thanks to income from tourism and exports. The 7th Tokyo International Conference on Africa's Development begins next Tuesday, an event focusing on future relations between Africa and Yokohama. And we'll see how Cameroon encourages investors to explore areas of growth. Tunisia's macroeconomic performance has been strong since the beginning of the year, recording 5.4 billion euros within 96 days of imports. Tourism, energy and mining sectors have reached their highest scores in nearly 7 years. These positive indicators come amidst many imbalances that the North African country is currently facing. Ronald Kato and Naya Gomogomo tell us more.
The Tunisian economy has achieved some recovery. Its foreign exchange reserves exceeded the security threshold set at 90 days of imports. As of mid-August 2019, they stood at 5.4 billion euros on 96 days of imports, an increase of nearly 55% compared to the same period last year. The growth was driven mainly by activity in the tourism, energy and mining sectors. The Ministry of Tourism reported revenues of nearly 623 million euros, an increase of more than 42.5% compared to the same period in 2018. In June, Tunisia sold a 700 million euro bond which propped up its reserves. The country is also running a bailout program with the International Monetary Fund. Its economy has been in crisis since the toppling of President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali in 2011, with unemployment and inflation shooting up. The North African country, however, remains on alert due to its budget deficit, which stands at around 12.2%, and which, according to experts, could eventually have a negative impact on foreign exchange reserves.
Education, development, public and private sectors. These are some of the topics to be discussed in Yokohama at the 7th Tokyo International Summit on African Development. TICAD 7 will come back to the Nairobi Declaration adopted in 2016, which highlighted the idea of the promotion of resilient health systems for quality of life, such as one of its priority areas on the continent. Africa, which is considered as the continent that suffers the most from infectious and other diseases, is a real obstacle to its development. Philemon Bale and Jean-David Mihamble with the perspectives of this 7th international meeting.
The Japanese city of Yokohama will host the Japan-Africa Cooperation from the 28th to the 30th of August during the 7th Tokyo International Conference on African Development.
A special song for
Africa's economic transformation will be at the center of this important meeting co-organized by Japan, the United Nations Programme, the World Bank, and the African Union. The acceleration of Africa's infrastructure development will be concerted. In addition to the highest Japanese personalities from the United Nations system and the World Bank, dozens of African heads of states will be present at a summit that represents the showcase of Japan's growing influence in Africa, alongside other Asian countries such as China and India. Through the Japanese Agency for International Cooperation, Tokyo is increasingly asserting itself as a major partner for Africa, with the construction of infrastructures in education, fishing, the transmission of knowledge for intensive agriculture. The ultimate goal is to empower local communities in Africa.
We take a quick break, and when we come back, we discover how some Cameroonian organizations attract the attention of investors. I'll be right back.